I'm back. Hey, what is up, my rainbow royalty? I'm Ace Explains, and we are back with another video. It's been a while, but today we are going to be talking about the differences between sex and gender, and also between gender identity and gender expression. So, let's start off with what is sex? So basically, sex has to do with biological factors in your body. This can be like your reproductive organs and your chromosomes and things like that. And there are generally 3 sexes that people go by, which would be male, female, and then intersex. And we can get into sexes more if you guys want a video on that, let me know. And then the difference between sex and gender is that while sex deals with biological factors, gender has to deal with how you personally identify yourself. And there's 2 parts to that. There is the identity part and the expression part. The identity part has to do with what is in your brain and how you identify yourself in your brain. So for example, you could have your sex as female, but your gender is male, or it's non-binary. There's a lot of different genders, but that is what is going on in your brain. And sometimes you don't even have a label for it. It's just how you feel in your brain. So that's your gender identity. When it comes to expression, that is how you express the things in your brain going on with your gender identity. An example for that is pronouns. You have my pronoun video that you can watch, which is just one factor that people use to express their gender identity or their gender in general. They even have one, because some people don't have a gender, and that is okay. Another thing could be how people dress. They could dress themselves differently in ways that maybe constitute one gender over another, or no gender, or both. Doesn't matter, can be anything. Another big thing is your name. You may not go by the name that you were given when you were born, and that's another way of expressing your gender. You could have a completely different name. You could have a name that's unisex, or fits with a specific gender, or anything like that. And finally, just your mannerisms, how you act. You can act in ways that seem more feminine, more masculine, both, neither. That is also another way of expressing your gender and how you feel. So there are a lot of different gender identities and genders that people go by, which for that, I will make another video just completely on different gender identities. And something you do have to realize is that what goes on in your brain and how you feel you are in your brain, there may not be a word for that. There are so many gender identities, and yet there are so many identities that don't have any names for them. It's just how you feel in your brain, and sometimes they don't need a label, and that's okay because gender is very complex. It is not something that is straightforward. It isn't what people thought like 50 years ago, where people thought there was just 2 genders. People just thought it was female or male. There was nothing else. But that is completely false. There are so many different gender identities and ways people want to express themselves. And a good way to look at this, or to visualize it, is with a genderbread person, which I'll just put right here. So basically you can see here is that there are different scales that are showing sex, gender identity, gender expression, and even romantic or sexual orientation. And you can see that it is a line, an arrow, and a scale. It's not something that is set in stone. It's not a checkbox that, oh yes, I like females. Oh yes, I like males. No. It has a scale from 0 to 100 basically of how much you like a female or identify as a female. So when you think about that, you see that there are so many gender identities and expressions that can exist because there are so many different numbers that can be put on that scale to show how much percentage somebody feels in a certain way. And that is hard to label. And for some people, certain labels work. For some people, there's just no label for that. And that is okay. And I will get more into that in my gender identities video. But I hope I cleared some things up for you on what sex is and what gender is, gender identity and gender expression. Let me know if you have any suggestions for what videos I should make in the future, and I will see you guys in the next video. So, bye-bye.